talkSPORT reporter Sam Allard is here with all of the information.
Morning, both. Yeah, it really is across all of today's newspapers. This is it was an exclusive yesterday by Matt Law, and it's on the front of the Telegraph Sports pull-out section this morning. He reports 3 of the most famous members of Arsenal's Invincibles have joined Spotify's billionaire founder in a £1.8 billion attempt to buy the club from Stan Kroenke, and they have received the backing of supporter groups and high-profile fans. Daniel Ek is working with Henri, Bergkamp and Vieira. A formal offer is expected in the next 10 days to test the claim by Kroenke's son Josh, a director at Arsenal, that the club are not for sale. Now, according to Forbes, Ek is worth £3.4 billion. His Spotify music streaming service is valued at £51.9 billion. If his offer is successful, it's understood that Henri, Bergkamp and Vieira could all return to be part of the setup. Their knowledge of the club and the fan base is already winning plenty of support. Laura, there's a picture this morning, isn't there, on the back of the Sun of Vieira, Henri and Bergkamp all in their Arsenal kits, stood side by side, smiles on their faces. As an Arsenal fan, given everything that's happened over the past couple of weeks with the protests, how excited are you that 3 club legends could be returning to the club and with no Stan Kroenke?
In theory, I love the idea. I think it's wonderful. I think there's a big way to go, though, with how these clubs are run. And I don't think it's as simple as just switching out one billionaire owner for another billionaire owner. I think with billionaires, you always along the way have upset some people. I don't know a single bit, not that I know any billionaires, but I haven't heard of a single billionaire that's managed to get their millions and billions without upsetting people. So there are, this guy Daniel Ek, even though he was an Arsenal fan and whatever he says from when he was younger, there's a lot of people in the world that aren't a fan of him and what he does for music in terms of the way that he streams and how much money he's made out of it. I love that these 3 are involved because I think it needs something like this. It needs something where they understand not just the fan base but also the club and how it's run, and basically can bring heart into it, because that's what we've been complaining about, the complete segregation between owners and clubs, and the fact that they have no real interest in it unless it's making money. It's a business interest, isn't it? So with these 3, I think you get that connection. There's a few other things I think that need to be looked at. Is it for sale? Is it for sale is the biggest question. If it's not
everything's for sale.
Really? Do you reckon? So if he comes in with an X amount of money and they say, right, fine, that's it, it's gone. Because Kroenke is a good businessman, and this is one of his biggest...
That's why the first thing he said is it's not for sale. It probably wasn't for sale when he bought it. You know, that's what happens. First thing he's saying is when he says it's not for sale is he's trying to get the price up.
Do you think it's that simple, though? Do you think it's as simple
No,
as...
I don't think it's simple at all.
How are they going to... I mean, unless it's a... Because this guy still wants to make money as well, and he's not going to be taken for a ride, is he?
No, but that's what I said to you. They're all businessmen. They will not do anything unless it suits them. And you're right what you're saying about Daniel Ek. He'll be the same as well. You know, you've got to have a ruthless streak. Don't care what MD says. These guys have got to have a ruthless streak in them at the top of business that make them the elite. So, you know, I think... You know, from the outside looking in, Arsenal fans, naturally, it would completely excite you. Your club's going to get a billionaire to come in, take over alongside legends of those names and of those quality, because it is important. And I keep going on about it. I think one of the best run clubs in world football is Bayern Munich. I keep saying it. And the whole spine of the club is people that know the club, whether it's Rummenigge, Gerd Muller, Sepp Maier, Hoeneß, all on them, Breitner. That's the way they do it, and it's superbly run.
Ali, we were talking about this outside the office before I came in. Do you think that moving forward now, this is where English football has to go? That, yes, you can have your billionaire owners, but we need people also involved in football clubs, not necessarily just fans, but let's say legends, people that understand the heritage, the DNA of the football club. You know, if Rangers tomorrow morning were to be bought for £1 billion or whatever the price would be by someone that doesn't know that much about football, doesn't know that much about Rangers Football Club, you know, how great would it be to have someone like you on the board? You know, you can be that link from the owner to the fans. Does this need to happen moving forward for the best for English football?
I think the fans have spoken last week, you know. And it's listen, we have all said how brilliant was it to see them all coming together, you know, to show the world effectively how they felt and blast this ESL right out the water. It is. We cannot get away from the fact that the clubs are so important to the fans and their communities. And I think sometimes that's where these billionaire businessmen lose touch with the reality and the importance of how much it means to so many people. Listen, they'll come on and say, yeah, these American owners will come in and say, yes, we know what the Arsenal mean to this fella and that person and that's this supporter. But effectively, they don't. You know what I mean? They don't. And that's the problem. And the fan has to keep in touch with the... because they won't allow it to happen. Because they know... Do you know something? In many ways, the history of the football club is just as important to the football fan in the future. And I get that and I love it.
Just quickly, this was a statement actually, Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust statement. They put on the website, and I thought it was brilliant. This was ahead of the EFL Cup game this weekend, the final against Manchester City. We call for the immediate resignation of the executive board of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and for the owners to work with us to appoint a new board that has elected and accountable fan representation on it. That representation must make key decisions about the running of the club dependent upon fan approval, and we would expect to see that made a legal requirement across the game. I thought kudos to those guys, because fan representation at board level feels more important now than ever. They want to actually make that law. They want to make it a legal requirement, which is kind of in tandem with what they do, isn't it, in the Bundesliga, where they have the 50+1 rule. So whether or not, because we kind of spoke about it last week, about has the horse already bolted, is it too late to do that kind of thing? If it becomes some kind of a law that you're putting fans on the board, maybe you'll avoid something like this happening in the future.